Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Stop the Asian Hate campaign, brought to you by a grant from the California State Library in collaboration with the Burlington Community Services and Housing Development. I'm your host, Thelma Sugay. This week's story is about courage amidst adversity. The Roque versus the Weber narrative.
Thinking of premeditated violence, perhaps even of killing someone? Your thoughts cannot be ignored or unheard. LifeTarget.org has links to over 400 services ready to help you now. LifeTarget can help you find a proxy, someone always there to help you overcome your thoughts of violence, anger, and hate. Don't let your negative emotions take control. Your loved ones and your community need the positive side of you. You're not alone. LifeTarget has your back.
Welcome to this week's episode of our Stop the Asian Hate campaign, brought to you by the California State Library in collaboration with the Burlington Community Services and Housing Development. I'm your host, Thelma Sugay, and we're here on Falco TV with none other than our health psychologist and leadership coach, Dr. Jeff Ring.
Nice
Welcome
to be
back,
with
Jeff.
you, Thelma. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you, as always. Earlier, we were talking about some of the clips that have come our way through social media. Let's start off with that, Jeff. Talk to me about that particular clip you shared with me.
Yeah, so this was a small clip that came through on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken, of a young man in New York City who, just by his background, has been practicing martial arts and jiu-jitsu.
MMA, yes, I remember that.
So he's on his way to work one morning, and he comes out of the subway station, and he sees some acts of violence right on the street. He sees a man who is kind of out of control, and he hits one man on the street, and then he goes off and I think hits another young person, and the man himself, who was observing all of this, was watching very carefully because he wanted to not be a victim himself. But then, as was his values and his training for mixed martial arts, he wanted to be a protecting force. And so he went to the first man who had been hurt. He said, "Are you okay?" And the man said, "No, I'm really not." And so in that moment, he decided to use his mixed martial arts skills to subdue this man who had been an aggressor. And he, it looks like he does it with safety.
Good.
But yet at the same time, he and another bystander subdue this man, and then he's just instructing everyone around, "Please call the police." And soon enough, the police arrive, and they're able to take care of the situation.
You were extremely happy about the outcome of this particular story because the thread that has been woven into our narrative is you always saying a responsible bystander is key when these things happen.
Right, because stopping hate is a team sport. It's upon all of our shoulders. We must do a better job watching out for one another and intervening if it's safe and if we're able to. Now, I would not have been able to intervene in the same way. I don't have that training, and I'm not such an advocate of the physical restraint piece, but I certainly would have done what I could to get police support and to diffuse and protect others around from not being more victims.
And eventually he did that. He actually called on some people to get the police, and then they came. We had a semi-happy ending.
And then at the end of his post, he makes some really lovely remarks about the importance of taking care of one another. He was noticing that the weather is very hot, our heads can get very overheated, and that these things can really kind of catch on fire.
Sure. And trigger.
So a lot of crazies out there right now in the streets, so just please be careful. They will sucker punch you. They will take out their frustration. It's hot in New York right now, so hot temperatures equals hot heads, and some people out there are just looking for a reason to just cause trouble. But for those of you that are in the martial arts, stay frosty, do your part. Make sure that you don't punch him or kick him or turn it into a more violent. But if you can subdue him somehow and wait for the cops to get there, it's probably the best situation. Everyone else, just please stay aware. Stay safe, everyone.
Now, during our last episode, we had spoken about a family, and now it was actually under some ambiguity and some anonymity. And now they're actually out, so we can refer to them, the Roque family.
Points, but if I remember correctly, a family, a Filipino family, a mother and a daughter are on their way home, and they decide to get some food at a fast food restaurant.
Yes.
They're in the parking lot, and then if I remember correctly, a white man in a van actually rear ends them in a way that feels intentional.
Right.
Not just kind of backing up.
Right.
And then this encounter really flares up in terms of aggression and negative words. They call the father in the family, who eventually makes it as well.
Yes,
as well.
Yes, I remember that. You were sharing that. And so now that it's gone on trial, we actually have with us someone who attended the trial, and he's one of the Philip Press Club members. His name is Nicky Ariola, so we'll have him in our next segment.
Well, we need to get the latest on that story.
No,
yes.
Absolutely. We'll be right back after a few reminders here on Popka TV.
Hi, my name is Nelly Reyes Schwab, people call Villanelle, and I am here to invite you all to our new nonprofit Assistance Services Institute for Asians in North America, or ASIANA for short. It is something that we offer to our people of color, to diverse minority groups, mostly Asian women who are very talented as creatives, artists, or healthcare professionals. If you want to take your talents or your systems to the next level, where it can be your legacy building, contact us, because we are gonna give to you all the information how you can be helped with our ASIANA app that's been in the works. Thank you so much again, ASIANA, and we will welcome you anytime that you are ready to go and build your legacy. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful time.
Okay, so we're back here with our guest today, Jeff. He is a board member of the Philon Press Club of California, and we are fortunate because we're hearing this straight from a first-hand narrative from our dear Nicky here, Nicky Ariola. Hi, Nicky, welcome.
Hi, Thelma.
Yes, and thank you for all
Sister
your
President,
help.
my favorite professor.
Oh my goodness, what a mouthful. Thank you so much. You are so kind. So talk to us about what occurred and took place during the trial.
We applied for many days already about the possibility to go inside and cover it with our cameras. But I was not able to talk to Weber because Weber himself doesn't want to be interviewed, or even the appearance is only behind the glass, wherein you cannot see unless you're the judge or one of the prosecutors.
We know that this is only one instance, and this violence will continue if we don't do anything about it. That's right, us, here, this community. So what are we gonna do? We need to organize to bring about change here in the US and in the Philippines to address the root problems that cause forced migration. Individually, it's hard to make change, but today is proof that when we come together and organize, we are stronger.
I was able to interview them,
Okay.
3 of them, Patricia, Isabel, and the mom, Nerissa. And then they told me about it's really very traumatic, like she was being strangled.
It's terrible to live in the times that we're living, where there's so much threat and anger and hate and violence. And if that wasn't enough, I think the invisibility of these crimes is another important layer. Like, Nicky, you started by saying there was hardly anyone from the press at the trial. It's as if these very real assaults on families, on community members, on our neighbors are not really so important or don't get the light shown upon them. And so that also creates, I think, a vacuum in which it's easy to pretend that Asian hate is not happening in the very painful ways that it is. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah. It's kind of like they feel they're neglected and that their case is not the priority. That's why I'm trying to encourage the friends of the PAPCA to participate, because we need to be there, and then we're from different media outlets, so we need to be there and to be part of the
whole movement.
Yes.
Again, this is not only my family's fight, this is our fight. We need to stop from here. Thank you.
Unite against Asian hate.
Unite against Asian hate.
Unite against Asian hate.
Unite against Asian hate.
We're actually getting into more trying times because, and I will be straightforward about this, the first monkeypox incident has arrived in the US, and unfortunately the person who brought it in is a Filipino who had come from the Philippines and China. So we're going to anticipate more of these incidents because of that. We'll be right back after
When healthcare frontliners were in our most difficult days, I wrote Misdiagnosed as a beacon of light and laughter. But what I didn't know then was that this script would go on to win the Chicago Screenplay Awards, and then Hollywood launched my screenwriting career. But this little show started it all, and it's getting a makeover into a live-action mockumentary in the vein of Modern Family and The Office. Now, welcoming producers and filmmakers to join the new team as we create the only medical comedy series currently on television, and one that will include the Pinoy perspective. So here it is, our opportunity. So come join the team and let's make this happen.
We're back here on FAPCA TV, this time with our community leader, Lydia Soriano. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me and
Of
having
course.
me here.
Absolutely. It's
And
always
nice
a pleasure.
meeting the
Nice
couple.
meeting you, Lydia. Welcome.
When people are afraid, they tend to be angrier.
Yes.
Talk to me about your thoughts on what's going on in the Asian hate arena.
Well, actually, you cannot avoid Asian hate because of the culture, because of the knowledge, because of the education.
Yes.
What we have to do is just talk to them humbly, as if you agree, Doc, and try to talk to them as if we are there, you know. Maybe sometimes it's a misunderstanding. I cannot say further how to resolve the hate crime, but all we have to do is continue educating people, being humble, and being, you know, talk to them as you are also an Asian or American. You know what I'm saying? Be them.
Yes, Dr. Ray.
Yeah, be them.
See, like this fine lady here has been here for 40 years. And she has served the community in more ways than one. So, I think every individual has a contribution to make. You agree?
I do.
Talk to me about that, Doc.
Well, first of all, Lydia, you are wearing beautiful clothing with butterflies. And for me, butterflies are symbols of hope and possibility.
Yes.
I love
And
it.
they are symbols of transformation.
Yes.
And so this is what we're going to need to do. We're going to, as Brian Stevenson says, the great civil rights lawyer, we must stay tethered to hope, even in times of violence and aggression and fear. The other thing I would add to our conversation, it comes from the Southern Poverty Law Center. They give us a 4-step recipe about how we might respond to, you know, whether it's Asian hate around COVID or maybe around monkeypox emerging. So the first step is I for interrupt. When somebody says something that's misguided or hurtful or uninformed, we should just interrupt and say, that thing you just said, I want to linger here for a moment. Right? So you put a little pause in the conversation. Next is we question. Where did that idea come from? What information do you have behind that? We try and understand a little bit more about what somebody's trying to say before we get too quick to judge. And then comes interrupt, question, educate. We have to educate. And the story for education may be that there's been a long and terrible history about myths, about illness and Asian roots and Asian people. And it's important to educate someone that their words that they may just be saying right now about monkeypox blame can actually become violence and hurt, and help them see the link. We also might need to remind them that a virus is a virus. It has its own culture-blind infection possibility. It doesn't matter which body it is. Infections just spread. And then finally, there's one more E, which is echo. When we do hear people among us who are speaking truth, who are helpful bystanders, upstanders, we need to call it out and support them, really shine a light on their contributions to a different way of building a community.
Thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Doctor. What do you think someone like our Philippine Consulate Office can do to better handle situations like this?
Well, that's a really good question. I think that creating a better world is on the shoulders of all of us, those in office and those who are not. But that being said, to the degree that leaders in our communities can educate, inspire, perhaps provide resources that help us to navigate these challenges, that they can paint a picture for us about the kind of world that is possible for us to live in, I would say that is a very important role for consulate leadership and more civic leadership as well. Do you agree, Thelma?
I do, because sometimes, especially when you're in this situation, you just think of who else to run to. I've heard some stories where if this lady had not known anyone in the government, she would have been invisible.
Yes.
And not everybody has that contact. Not everybody has that connection. I mean, I know I've spoken with some people in the force who say it's hard to determine whether it's Asian or it's racially motivated. So let's remove that. So let's forget that it wasn't racially motivated, but the mere fact that there is aggression.
Yes.
I think it needs to be dealt with in an equally powerful manner, because you want to give importance to the people who had gone through the experience. Nikki, during our break time, was saying there's another trial, a follow-up trial on the Roque case. And maybe please have the communities come and support that.
Yeah, that
Nikki,
will
you
be
said August 19th?
August 19th.
Okay,
10
and
o'clock.
where is this again?
This is in the Van Nuys Courthouse.
And this is 10 a.m.?
Yeah, 10 a.m.
And are they opening it to the public?
The hope is that by this time the judge will allow media people to enter also with their cameras.
Right.
Because we keep on pleading, can we
Please cover it, yes.
cover this one? This is very important.
Yes. Now, I understand they might be afraid, obviously, of having more people there, the anger, the emotions that are going to be heightened by hearing the story firsthand. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question, Lydia. In your many years of leadership, have you had any examples that stand out of citizens who are really doing the beautiful work of supporting and nurturing and speaking out?
Yes, it's a different mixtures of attitude. You know what I can say is the simple. Remove the egotism, the pride that you are powerful, and remove the sense that we are Americans, you are Asian, so you should listen to me. Try to mend to the public, mend to who they are, and listen, and try to listen. That's a very important thing to do. Try to listen first before you act, and be them. As I said, I've been talking to people and saying, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? And understand them. Empathy is very important. Well, as I always been, in 40 years, I never spoke to anybody. I always talk to them amicably, talk to them in a way that they will understand me, and I talk to them like they're in power over me. And then after that, I'll say my opinion, as they will understand me and they will listen. Because if you face people like, if they're angry and you're angry too, well, it will end up like fighting because you both are not connected. So it's very important to listen first, like what you're talking. If you're talking nonsense or sense or whatever, you say, I listen. I look at you, I listen, and then I wait things, I don't say that I don't interrupt. I say that, listen, this is what I've learned. I always say that, this is what I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I just that's the formula I've been doing in 40 years of my life.
And it's worked. Listening. You have a few words on that.
Well, just in other words,
yes.
What you just said is that we should be curious, not furious.
Yes. I love it.
Yes.
And at some point, instead of just judging or pushing away or distancing, if we can really try and understand another's perspective, then at some point we can get to the place where we can say, well, whoa, you see things so differently from me.
Yes.
Can we have a conversation about our different perspectives and see if we can't build some bridges?
Yeah. Well, not everybody knows how to adjust themselves, especially if they're threatened that you are knowledgeable than them. So just keep quiet and say, I'll go back to that. You know what I'm saying? All I know, I said, all I know, correct me if I'm wrong, although I already know, I always say, tell me what to do. Tell me what I have to learn. I put myself into them. That's what I'm saying. Learning is important, listening is important, and be humble to yourself.
I love that.
I don't know if you agree with me though.
I agree with you, and I was just going to say, every time we come to have these conversations, I get a little nervous because I want to have some magic that will fix it and make it all better. And the truth is, it's really messy. It's messy and will continue to be messy. Yet, that being said, both of you have brought some very important perspectives. You, Nikki, reminding us that we need to pay attention and we need to stand up for one another. And you, Lydia, reminding us that we have to listen deeply to one another and do our best to put ourselves into the shoes of another so that our heart will follow and then we'll lead, hopefully, to action and transformation, not unlike those butterflies.
Yes. Thank you for wearing that today. It triggered a few thoughts, right, Doctor?
That's right.
Yeah, right.
To sum this up, we would like to once again invite you on August 19th, Van Nuys Sport, 10 a.m. Be there. We will be there. I promise this time. I will be there. And we'll be right back after a few reminders here on Popka TV.
largest Kellogg Friendship Day with the one and only Cheryl.
Good afternoon, Cerritos.
And Linda, thank you so much for coming together. Thank you. I understand you're not
Good afternoon, Cerritos.
I do. This is my boss. This is wonderful. Well, this is amazing.
My name is
because
Jessica
not only
Cloza,
is
and I'm
it
gonna
an inspiration, especially with all the Asian hate that's
I
been
am
going
proud
around
to be here on
right here in this
behalf
park.
of my
Yes.
incredible
As
boss,
was in the speech,
Attorney
the
General Rob
supervisor,
Bonta, the first
you have a
Filipino
memorial
American
to
Attorney
respond to
General
that,
in the state of
to say
California.
that how we face this would be with love.
I see a
not
lot
hate,
of friendly
maybe
faces in the
educate.
crowd, and my boss here to
think one
celebrate
thing is
what is
any
truly a
assault
historic
on
day,
Asian
not just in
people
Cerritos, but in all of
is
LA
assault on
County,
everybody.
because today
We take
is
it
about
seriously, zero
community.
tolerance.
Right, today is
If you
about
harm a
community
member of the
and bringing
community, we're
everyone
coming to
together,
fight you. We
not
will fight
just to have good food, not just to see friends.
Yeah,
and
so as a
meet
council
new
member
ones,
here in the city of
but
Cerritos, we too
as
want
the
to make
supervisor
sure to
mentioned,
stop Asian
really
hate, and
stand up
our
to hate.
council members just recently fully funded our sheriff station, so I'm really proud of that.
Message
Thank you.
than to be in the place where the incident
We love you for
right, show and to demonstrate to everybody.
Yes! So did that many times.
Yes!
We'll be right back after a few reminders.
Hey everybody, Martin here. I'm on Philippine Airlines on my way to Los Angeles for the August 28th concert to celebrate my 40 years at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. We'll see you there, and thank you to Philippine Airlines for bringing us to you, August 28th, Walt Disney Concert Hall.
with the Stop the Asian Hate campaign, brought to you by an award given to us by the California State Library in collaboration with the Burlington Community Services and Housing Development. And with us is a lawyer. She specializes in trusts and wills, and I'm sure you've heard some stories about Asian hate. We'll talk about that. But talk to us about what you do for the community.
Well, my goal is to educate and empower our community about the importance of legal planning. You know, a lot of people want to save some money, they DIY, but what that does is that puts your family at risk of spending tens of thousands of dollars if the plan doesn't work.
Exactly.
So by educating people, I empower them to make the decisions about what plan are they going to get.
Right.
You know?
And Cecilia, this is Cecilia, by the way, Amo. And Cecilia, you hit it right on the nail, because you and I are working along the same mission, which is to empower and to educate so that we can diminish this Asian hate that's going around, especially during COVID.
Yes.
Right? So we're helping the Filipino be courageous in all aspects of their lives.
Yes.
In financial planning,
for sure.
Especially for young families, you were saying.
Yeah. Before I did estate planning, before I focused, I was actually hired. I started my career in one of the most prestigious law firms in the world. I was doing trial work for about a decade, and I had one case, which was a trucking accident.
Wow.
This family was hit by a truck on their vacation. Wow. The two boys in the backseat were orphans. So both parents died. They didn't have a plan, and there was a huge custody battle between the mother's sister and the father's sister.
Oh my God.
And this
could be messy.
It cost the family $100,000 to litigate this. Wow. And then at the end of the day, the two boys, they get the money from the lawsuit at 18 with no protection. Wow. 18-year-olds with $1 million. Imagine that.
And they don't know how to handle this kind of money.
So with legal planning, you can decide exactly how, if something happens to you, your children will not get a lump sum at 18. You can leave the money with guidance and protection.
I love that. Now, Cecilia, not related to wills. Mm-hmm. You were a trial lawyer before. Mm-hmm. Can you share with me if you've heard from among your friends, associates, any stories of Asian hate, any form of or discrimination?
I have not,
fortunately.
Fortunately.
But what do you think about it?
I mean, how would you address it? It's definitely a problem. But I mean, again, it starts with educating, empowering our community, giving them their voice, giving them, their power.
And you know what? They always say, as an onlooker, since it doesn't happen to us, thankfully, but as we see it happen, we need to label it, name it, we need to have it de-escalated. Yes. As we see, we can't just be bystanders not doing anything.
Yes, and that's part of estate planning
as well.
Tearing down the industrial complex of death and taxes. It's a system that's in place, puts the average person under a system of oppression.
Yes.
And the government's taking money and power. And so this is to elevate and get above that.
I love that. You just have to join our group. You are so empowering and inspiring. Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Cecile Amo will be right back after a few reminders.
Thinking of premeditated violence, perhaps even of killing someone? Your thoughts cannot be ignored or unheard. LifeTarget.org has links to over 400 services ready to help you now. LifeTarget can help you find a proxy, someone always there to help you overcome your thoughts of violence, anger, and hate. Don't let your negative emotions take control. Your loved ones and your community need the positive side of you. You're not alone. LifeTarget has your back.
We're here at the Philippines' largest Film Friendship Day, thanks to our Supervisor Janice Han in collaboration with NAFA. Supervisor Han, I love your speech about stopping the Asian hate and how we can actually educate them. And your words were solve it with love, with kindness.
How we're going to fight that.
Yes.
And that's why working together in this very park where a year ago a Filipino American was badly beaten because of hate. And we're coming back and saying, not backing down. The Filipino American community is so important, not just here in Cerritos, but all throughout LA County. It's such an important community that contributed so much. And we know there still exists, Asian hate.
Yes.
And we've got to always, at every chance we can, we fight back with love and understanding.
I love that.
And forgiveness if we have to.
No, absolutely. And they did say that we cannot be just passive bystanders.
This is true, and I know that's been an issue sometimes with our Asian communities.
Because of our culture.
Because of your culture, you're less likely to want to say,
yes.
and you don't want to speak up or say something. So it's an education.
Yes.
And we're trying to say there's only one way that we can, prevent these from happening is for people to speak up. Say when these happen, and then we will rush to their side with love and support and resources if we have to. It helps us when people speak up about this kind of hateful acts.
We thank you for the love of your love, your Filipino American community. And we will see you in the next events. We'll be right back after a few reminders. Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, Martin here. I'm on Philippine Airlines on my way to Los Angeles for the August 28th concert to celebrate my 40 years at the Walt Disney Concert Hall. We'll see you there, and thank you to Philippine Airlines for bringing us to you August 28th, Walt Disney Concert Hall.
Nelly Reyeshua, people call Villanelle, and I am here to invite you all to our new nonprofit Assistance Services Institute for Asians in North America, or ASIANA for short. It is something that we offer to our people of color, to diverse minority groups, mostly Asian women who are very talented as creatives, artists, or healthcare professionals. If you want to take your talents or your systems to the next level, where it can be your legacy building, contact us, because we are gonna give to you all the information how you can be helped with our ASIANA app that's been in the works. Thank you so much again, ASIANA, and we will welcome you anytime that you are ready to go and build your legacy. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful time. We're back with Roque TV with Stop the Asian Hate campaign, brought to you by the board by the California State Library and the community of Burlington Housing Development. We have with us a community organizer, leader, Benito Miranda. You're with the Rotary.
Yes, Rotary Club of Historic Filipino Town.
Yes.
And also Pedro, Philippine Disaster
Yes,
Relief
oh my
Organization.
goodness, yes. This is a wonderful example of what we should be doing to give back. You're also by a career as a profession with Alignment Health Plan. Talk to me about that.
Well, Alignment Health Plan is a senior Medicare Advantage plan, prescription drug plan, and we cover people that have Medicare Parts A and B, and the people that have Medicare Parts A and B, and also full Medi-Cal.
Nice.
So they're covered. They have worldwide coverage. You know, they get benefits that normally Medicare doesn't offer. Okay.
Okay, quick question. How do you compare with SCAD and the rest of those?
Well, basically,
are they competitor?
Yes, they're competitors,
Okay.
and they usually have almost the same plans, except maybe there's $1 difference. You know?
That's it.
Yeah. For example, they have a plan where they give everybody $125 a month reimbursement for the Part B.
Right.
Ours, we have a plan called Smart HMO, where we give $109 reimbursement to the Part B, but we put $30 into their access card that they have with Alignment. So they actually get $139 a month.
Now, when can they enroll if they wanted to switch or something?
Right now, if they're already a member of our plan, they cannot enroll until October 15th.
Okay, I remember that day.
Annual enrollment period from October 15th to December 7th.
That's it.
That's it.
You cannot enroll any other time.
They cannot enroll any other time unless they move to another county.
Got it.
And if the plan is no longer in service or the medical group is no longer part of the plan. But if they have Medicare A and B and full Medi-Cal, they can change once every quarter. Yeah, so
good to know, because I know some people who are not quite happy with the plans.
Yes, true.
So, but there is an enrollment period.
There is an important period.
You heard that right here from Benito Miranda. We'll be right back after a few reminders.
Thank you, Thelma. God bless you.
Stop right.
When healthcare frontliners were in our most difficult days, I wrote Misdiagnosed as a beacon of light and laughter. But what I didn't know then was that this script would go on to win the Chicago Screenplay Awards, and then Hollywood launched my screenwriting career. But this little show started it all, and it's getting a makeover into a live-action mockumentary in the vein of Modern Family and The Office. Now, welcoming producers and filmmakers to join the new team as we create the only medical comedy series currently on television, and one that will include the Pinoy perspective. So here it is, our opportunity. So come join the team and let's make this happen.
This brings to an end this week's episode on the Stop the Asian Hate campaign, brought to you by the California State Library in collaboration with the Burlington Community Services and Housing Development. We will keep you posted on updates on the Roque versus the Weber case. There is a trial that's happening August 19th, and hopefully the next time we see you on this Hapka TV and E360 TV, we'll have more information for you. Keep tuning in here on Stop the Asian Hate campaign. And remember, let's not hate, let's educate.